Welcome back to the channel. My name's Diego, and today's video is our very first review of a video game called The Bridge. The Bridge is a logic puzzle game that messes with your perception of gravity and physics. Now, before we hop in, please take a second to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. We really appreciate it. Lastly, this review will contain some minor spoilers, so continue at your own risk. That said, let's talk about The Bridge. First and foremost, it is a logic puzzle game. Players take control of the real-life Moritz Cornelis Escher. MC Escher was a respected graphic artist and mathematician. You may have seen some of his art, which relies heavily on perspective illusions. As Escher, you traverse a black and white world using logic to solve puzzles and open doors to new illusions. The game requires you to balance perspectives, gravity, and physics. The Bridge is simple and minimalistic, but if you pay close attention, you can piece together an intriguing story. The Bridge has 48 levels, which I found to be the perfect amount of levels, and the reason for it is because the last 24 levels are pretty difficult. Without the help of a walkthrough or a guide, many players will probably struggle with these levels and may not even finish the game. I believe most players can expect to finish the first 24 levels in about 4 hours. However, finishing those last 24 levels can definitely take more than 4 hours. If you're mentally agile, then the pace of this game will feel perfect for you. However, if you're like me and you mentally struggle to conceptualize the illusions, it's going to take a lot longer and you might feel frustrated. That said, it is a linear game, meaning you're going from one point to another, which makes things a little bit easier and boosts the overall experience of the game. The only other major aspect that I believe affects the pace of the game is the pace at which MC Escher walks. He slowly shuffles around levels, which can be frustrating. Moving on to the score and soundtrack, I actually really enjoyed it. The Bridge is an indie game and was developed on a low budget. However, the score and soundtrack feel professionally developed. The soundtrack perfectly complements the black and white world of The Bridge. It is calming, yet it inspires thought and fits the tone of the game. While there was no audible dialogue within the game, there was some on-screen dialogue which was poetic and thought-provoking. Additionally, this dialogue helped explain the narrative and story of the game. Lastly, the dialogue also helps set a philosophical tone. As a quick example, we see this in Escher's thoughts. We're like children with a bottomless toy box, creating and exploring, limited only by our imaginations. The black and white visuals for The Bridge serve it wonderfully and match the perspective artwork created by MC Escher. As you look at the screen, you find the world of The Bridge to be complex, yet simple, creating alluring illustrations. The game has a pencil sketch aesthetic, and as you control Escher, if he dies, he leaves a smudge mark. These marks help the game feel a bit more dynamic and serve as reminders of what not to do. At the end of the game, the world becomes colorful, and the vibrant colors are so eye-catching, they made me wonder what the game would have been like if it had had color from the start. One aspect of the game that adds a challenge are menaces. These are rolling balls that will kill the player if the player comes into contact with them. Additionally, the player and puzzle pieces can fall off of the level, forcing the player to restart. The player can thankfully rewind time, armed with new knowledge. Despite having 48 levels, the last 24 are a mirror of the first 24 with additional physics mechanics and menaces. These mirrored levels are drastically more difficult and extend the playtime. On my first playthrough, The Bridge was a fun game for the first couple of levels, but it quickly became difficult. I beat my brain for several hours trying to complete as many levels as possible, but ultimately I reached a point where I needed to look online for some help. Some players might like this level of challenge, but others might not. Again, another downside of having such difficult levels is that most players may not pick up on the story within the game. Thankfully, as far as bugs are concerned, I couldn't find any. Overall, The Bridge is a fun and visually pleasing game. If you're a fan of puzzle games, chances are you're likely going to enjoy this one, especially if you like challenges. However, if you're a casual gamer, this game may not be for you. It's difficult and it can certainly invoke frustration. If you can stomach the challenge, you'll find an interesting story involving Sir Isaac Newton. I believe this game is worth playing, but I recommend you get it when it's on sale for $1.99. If you do, you'll get your money's worth and you'll experience a satisfying, atmospheric game. Thank you for listening to my review of The Bridge. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and hit the subscribe button down below. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. As a heads up, we will be posting a couple more videos related to The Bridge, specifically an explanation of the story, a walkthrough with commentary, and a walkthrough without commentary. Again, thank you so much for listening. My name's Diego, and I'll see you soon.